Welcome to our channel. Today's story is about four strangers brought together by one lost umbrella on a rainy day. It's a story of small kindnesses, big surprises, and an ending you won't expect. Let's begin the Umbrella Club. Part 1. A rainy afternoon. It was a cold Tuesday afternoon in London. The rain poured from the sky like buckets of water. People ran for shelter, holding coats over their heads and jumping over puddles. At King's Cross Station, four strangers waited under a small roof near the taxi stand. Emma, a young woman who worked at a bookshop. Mr. Green, a retired teacher with a kind smile. Tom, a teenage boy in school uniform, shivering. Mrs. Patel, an elderly woman carrying two heavy shopping bags. They all looked at each other but said nothing. Suddenly, Emma's umbrella flew out of her hand. The wind took it down the street. "Oh no!" she cried and ran after it. Part 2. The Shared Shelter. Emma returned empty-handed, soaking wet. "Here," said Mr. Green, opening his large black umbrella. "We can share." Everyone stepped closer. It was a tight fit, but now they were dry. "I'm freezing," said Tom. "I missed my bus." "My bags are so heavy," said Mrs. Patel, "and I can't get a taxi. I was just trying to get home after a long day at the shop," Emma added. Mr. Green smiled. "It seems we all had a bad day. But now we're together." They chuckled softly. It was strange, none of them knew each other, yet standing together under one umbrella felt warm. Part 3. A cup of tea. "I live just down the road," said Mrs. Patel. "Would you all like a cup of tea while we wait for the rain to stop?" The others looked surprised. "Well, why not?" said Mr. Green. "All right," Emma smiled. "Only if it's not too much trouble." Tom nodded shyly. At her small flat, Mrs. Patel made hot tea and shared some samosas she had just bought. They all sat around her little table, drying off and laughing. They talked about their lives, their dreams, and the silly things they had done in the rain. "I once lost my shoes in a puddle," laughed Emma. "I once fell into a fountain at Hyde Park," said Mr. Green. Tom giggled. "I once used my school bag to cover my head. It didn't work." Part 4. The Surprise. As they said goodbye, Mrs. Patel handed each of them a small paper bag. "I had extra sweets from the shop," she said. "Take some." They thanked her and promised to meet again. Just as they walked out the door, the rain stopped, and a beautiful rainbow appeared over the rooftops. Part 5. 1 week later, they met the next Tuesday at the same spot. "Shall we call this the Umbrella Club?" asked Mr. Green. And so, they met every week, rain or shine, for tea, stories, and laughter. What started as a rainy accident turned into something beautiful, a small circle of friends. The twist: 3 months later, Emma arrived at Mrs. Patel's flat early. She knocked and waited. But no one answered. Worried, she asked the neighbor. "Mrs. Patel left last night," the woman said. She went to live with her daughter in India. But she left you this. It was a small parcel with Emma's name on it. Inside was the red umbrella Emma had lost on the first day. With a note, "You were always the sunshine in the rain. Keep this safe. Love, Mrs. Patel." Emma smiled with tears in her eyes. The Umbrella Club had lost one member, but the warmth remained forever.